Alright, so we're going to go live. So boom, this doesn't mess around. Boom, says we're live. Already captured my screener. And we should be good. So now we've got to change our thumb. Alright, that's done. And let's get back to action. Welcome, ladies and gentlemen. I'm your host, Stephen West. CenterLine News. It's Sunday, February 15th, approximately 7. It's 10:20 a.m. Pacific Standard Time, and we're here discussing Nancy Guthrie, 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 the mother of Savannah. And yeah, I'm just the small channel, gonna go live. I like doing audio editing, video editing, image editing. I've been doing it for 30 years. Since I see a lot of trash out there, a lot of garbage, I have decided that it's really in my best interest to, and the public's interest, is to do some public service stuff, get it out there. Yeah, I mean, I'm trying to get subscribers. I was going to launch this channel waiting for another big event. Unfortunately, I just didn't have the budget to go to Tucson, Arizona. I'm in California. It's just a little bit too far out of my zone. So let me see if I can see me streaming. Let me see if I could see I'm streaming. Wait, I've got to change. Hang on just a second. There we go. Yeah, it's weird. This thing likes to cut off if I switch back and forth, checking everything that's going on. So I think it's better for me just to check to see if we are live on the internet. I don't see us as of yet. So I don't know what the heck I'm doing wrong or right. Let's see. Oh, it did show that I'm gone live. Let's take a look. There we are. Waving. About a 10 second delay. There we are. Alright, so nothing going on but the rent. So like I said, folks, I just wanted to make this quick video, and even though I don't think it's going to get much hits, I went ahead and just colorized the one other image. There's been a couple other people that commented that the lips are too thick in my analysts. I think they're pretty spot on. I went ahead and digitized the second photo. Yeah, I think the guy was telling me, hey, thank you, I'm in, thank you. Like I said, the more people we get rolling in, the more chances I have of basically maybe a whale comes in and says, hey, Steve, I want to send you over there, get all your equipment to work, would be fantastic. But, you know, we're now, day 15 in. So, yeah, all I'm trying to do is just bring the awareness to the public of what's going on. So, yeah, I'm monitoring, and we see B. Rose. She's in. Thank you very much. I appreciate that. And again, we have to start somewhere, right? Like I said, I'm a small channel. I have an RV. I've got all my equipment. I can't wait to get out in the field and do real reporting and just give you guys unbiased news. You know, I am an independent reporter. I kind of approach everything from the CenterLine approach. Just try to give you guys factual stuff again, I just didn't see too many people that were out doing videos that were specifically targeted on trying to actually find the suspect. Now, I see a lot of people, this is what I'm not going to do, is see a lot of people that are showing photos of actual other people, real people, saying, hey, it looks like this person, looks like this person. That's very irresponsible, because just because someone looks doesn't mean it's them. Meaning you need to let the authorities take it further. The last thing I'm going to do is now basically go search and find photos of people that match and start doing that. To me, that's not, responsible reporting. Like I said, my things that I've worked on is fully for education purposes only. Again, I'm diving in on this case because I take it personal. 85-year-old lady, my mom departed me on some very unfortunate circumstance with her family involved. So without pointing any fingers, that's why there's about a 90% chance still this was an inside job from a family, friends, or acquaintance, or possible workers in that small circle. And then there's the 10% chance this was just some random guy coming up through the border or whatever, working his way north, and happened to stumble across Nancy's house. But again, based on all the evidence, I don't think so. So in this video, we're just going to make a pretty quick live stuff, but I'm going to tell you what I think happened based on my expertise, based on the evidence that we have. And again, it's merely speculation, but I'm going to go based on what we know and, yeah, kind of speculate, but I'm going to go based on what the probability is of what happened to Nancy. As an example, we know she was abducted. We know that there was a blood trail leaving her front porch area out and then disappeared. And I've been working and arguing with AI as far as, okay, the probability of what were the odds that how far could she walk? And if she couldn't walk any farther, what is the perpetrator going to do? Leave her there? Or he's going to pick up and carry her? So once you see there's a perimeter that this guy had to work under, meaning even if he trekked in, there's no way he was going to carry a 130-pound lady wrapped in any kind of blanket or whatever over his back for more than maybe a quarter or half a mile. That's a pretty niched area. So once we realize what the most realistic thing is he probably did have some kind of a vehicle that was parked fairly close. Now, based on the videos that I'm watching, the live cams, etc., based on these guys parking right across the street from Nancy's house, right over on the other side, there was lights which looked like it was a vehicle. If there's not a road there, then that would lead me to believe that it was an off-road vehicle that was parked there. Or, in fact, it is a street. I haven't Google Maps, so I figured why not we go together and we can Google Map, and because I got to basically do it with this browser so you guys can go along with me. But what I think we should do is we're going to basically start lining up some things because, yeah, we can go to like JLR Investigations, and he's on site, he's on scene, there's a few guys that are right there, but what we don't know is what happened. Everyone's waiting for the next thing, and there might not be the next thing. This is why I want to give the hypothetical of what happened to Nancy and the most probability of what happened. Did she end up in a sewage, in a septic tank down the road, or was she taken in a car and skedaddled out of there? So let's start with the most important stuff with what we know, and it is the kidnapping, the taking out of the house. Now, it's safe to assume, for purposes of investigative work, is to assume Nancy was taken out of the house. And if the blood stopped, there was no car in sight of the camera or prior. So again, reasonable the suspicion of what happened next was that Nancy was taken out of the house by her, not her own will. Okay, and when you are taken from a house from your own will, was she dragged out? Was she grabbed by the arm? Or what? I mean, if you talk to some criminals, if this was a stone cold criminal and he had whacked her over the head, remember there's nothing indicating inside the house that she was struck with anything inside the house. So it's safe to assume whatever Nancy was struck with, the perpetrator had with him, which assume was the gun, possibly either hit in the head and walked out. But look, I'm going to say something that might be controversial, but you need to understand hardcore criminals. If this was a straight up execution, there's a very good chance in this guy's backpack he had a plastic bag and a towel. You put it over someone's head, you shoot him in the head, and you might get a leak or two, but that would be straight up execution, and it would indicate possibly a couple drops of blood until the perpetrator could have taken off his mask and used his mask as a way to stop the bleeding. Now, remember, you're going straight up from execution to where actually being walked out, and then the blood stops. How would you get that scenario? Well, you would either get it from where she was hit inside and the guy possibly picked her up and was carrying her out to wherever, holding her mouth so she couldn't scream. Okay? So that's why I didn't hear anything, and you got blood droplets that stop. Now, there's another theory that if he was pulling her out and she was forward, face forward down, then yeah, you can get blood droplets that drop off your face. But at some point, if she was forced to stand upright, then it would then bleed and drip down into her clothes, and you wouldn't no longer have any blood droplings. So that's the other scenario, which sounds more likely than not that if she was still alive, the stopping of the blood would merely indicate maybe two things: that he had taken off his mask, which doesn't sound likely because then she would see him, okay? And or how else would the blood stop? Well, being upright would stop it. Putting something else on it. You know, you could put the glove on it, while you're walking her, but it's not going to stop the drip. They would have found a few drops somewhere else. At least one drop somewhere within, a 200-yard radius of that house. So it means that if it just directly stopped right there, could mean several things. It could have meant that, that was the bleeding was addressed at the last drop, meaning something happened right at that last drop which stopped the bleeding. Makes sense, right? Something happened, so you have to ask yourself, what would stop the bleeding? Would you just stop naturally based on the size of the blood droplets? It does look like she was hit by some blunt object in the head, okay, somewhere like, around this area, because if you make a mark, you're going to get a lot of blood. Anywhere on the top of your head, you cut, you're going to get blood dripping, okay? If it's anywhere else in a vital, you're going to get drip pouring. There wasn't drip pouring. There wasn't splattering. It was just a drip, which would indicate blunt force trauma and leaking. So that would be something that I would look at before I went ahead and just basically, concluded that something happened, rather than just taking it one step at a time to say, okay, just like the photos, and doing one little methodical step to say, okay, it makes sense to see she was outside at one point with this abductor. Was he carrying her? Was she walking under her own will? Because you now know if she was under her own will, 85-year-old lady's got about 150 steps, she's going to collapse. So if he took her out into the quote-unquote brush, she's going to collapse, he's going to panic, he's going to leave her there, okay? But that didn't happen, okay? No evidence of anything happening like that. So it does seem to me that once she was removed from that last blood droplet, she was taken to the exit vehicle, the getaway vehicle, the vehicle that could have been the one that the lights were still on, parked on the other side. But again, I don't know it was a car. So what we're going to do together, we're going to go in and we are going to, don't want to do that, do we? we want to go into my maps. Here we go. And then we want to come over here and zoom in Arizona. Okay, we are looking for Tucson. All right, so what we're going to do is slowly go Tucson. Probably easier to go here, go Tucson. Tucson, Arizona. Ooh, way down here. Okay, so now we're in Tucson, folks. So what we're going to do is we are going to kind of go back and try to find Nancy's house. So let me see if there's an address for Nancy's house, because now we know it was north of the city. Okay, because I remember seeing maps up here. Hang on, let me see if I can get us a good address. Hang tight. I don't know if I'm going to get her that house. I probably am prepared this way. Figuring I was going to be able to find her house, and I'm really not that good. So, let's see. Give me just a second. I guess we got nothing but time, right? Let me see. Like I said, something normally you don't have, but because there's so much coverage on this, let's see. Well, here's the home. Doesn't give me the coordinates, does it? View larger map. Let's do that. I haven't forgot about you guys, but again, I'm trying to use Google Maps to try to find her house so we can check it out. And then we're going to see where the streets are, exit routes. Apparently it runs perpendicular up and down through here, so I'm assuming it is somewhere up here. And then they had the main street down where they found the glove. So whatever the main street is here, looks like there's the airport. Is that the airport? Yeah. All right. So, now I've seen the home. Okay, it's on. All right. I'm not going to tell you the name of the street. I guess everyone's going to see it, right? So let me just do this. I won't give the exact address. I'm just going to give. There it is. This guy right here. All right. So here's the house. And let's see if I can find the pool. Alright, that's the house, El Camino. There it is. We're looking for the pool. That might be it right there. This looks like it's it, folks. Okay, here's the house. I bet you didn't know you were going to find the house in this. We're going to drop right in front of the street. And this is the three cacti that is in front of the house and is very familiar. And this is the house. This is the entrance. Let's go back and look kind of this way. This goes into the house. Okay, so this is where the perpetrator walked up. Now, based on what we've known, is that he walked up on the other drive. Just based on what we know. Okay, walked up this way. Why? Because he came up this angle. Didn't come up through the long way, right? Came up and through this way, which that's what it indicates on the camera. Or he could have just came up, walked straight straight up through this stuff, folks. He could have walked straight up through here. We don't know. All we know is that the blood was found all the way up until into the drive. We don't know if it's this side or that side. Well, what we do know now is if this is the house, okay, right here, this way, is where they saw those lights of the other person. So let's just go look on the I'm going to go look quick first while we're just still here. Let me just kind of zoom back at our house so you guys get a little view here while I'm going to do a little investigative work. And it does look like there is, very interesting. It looks like, wow, you're going to like this. All right, this is Nancy's house, okay, and based on the doorbell camera, it faces this way, right? So that means that the view coming from the camera is coming this way, okay? So what that means is that based on the photo and the angle, okay, is that car was parked, the lit car was parked over here. Now, it might have nothing to do with the kidnapping, but at the time, you can tell, and I guess I'd have to really go searching more photos for you right now to prove to you that Nancy's house, right here, the camera was facing out this way. Remember, it's at a little angle. It's not directly straight to this, so it's going off at an angle here, so be careful when you see here. But in my opinion, you saw the car at the angle. So was the car, was the car parked in here? Was the car parked here? Hid? Was it just a coincidence of these neighbors? Because see, it looked like, and we're going to go down here because, yep, here we go. It looked like to me that the car light was, see, there's her house. Wow. Anybody ever tell you this, folks? I hope I got 200,000 people watching right now because this is spooky as hell. Because now you're seeing what this perpetrator was seeing. That's her door right there. Look how far down the street you can see right to her house. Now remember, we didn't see the car lights head on. We saw them sideways. And what I thought was the front, I'm just saying, speculating, I thought that the front of the car was facing west and the tail was east, but I could be mistaken. But it's clearly lights on, and like I said, the only thing that I'm seeing is that cul-de-sac. Now look, you zoom in, what do you see? You see her door. I mean, if someone was going to surveil her, they'd be sitting right about here. I mean, did they go canvass this area and look real hard? I don't know. Did they really know that somebody could have been sitting right here? Right friggin' here, guys. And still had a view to that house. That would make sense. See, what I saw was somebody parked, in my opinion, about right here. Is there any other way to get in there with the off-road vehicle? I don't think so. Maybe here. What's this? No, I don't see that. I don't see any way possible it wouldn't leave major tracks. So yeah, folks, like I said, this is Nancy's house. There's the there's the cacti, right? I mean, if I'm wrong, let me know, but I keep seeing these three cacti, and the live streams that are like JRLS is streaming right now. We come here. This is the road, bro. Here's the street name right here. All right. You guys want to do some real investigative work? Yeah, you guys gotta understand. That's why I said I'm a drone guy. I do a lot of drone stuff. And that's why I started saying to myself, there's no way they walked out of here. There's just no way they walked out. There's nowhere to walk to. Okay? There's really nowhere to walk to. Here's her house. We're going to just keep going slowly out. I mean, she's surrounded by hundreds of other homes. Hundreds of other homes. Look at this. You know, hundreds of other homes. Crazy. So the odds of them just walking in from like the desert, see, I didn't even know this topology going in. You're discovering it just with me. She's smack dab in the middle there. Look at this, folks. She's in, I mean, as far as the county is concerned, Tucson, you see it, the whole Tucson area, okay? And yeah, the most area down here is really, you know, it's like this isn't country, this is house living. This is like Los Angeles stuff where houses are like piled up on one another. But north, that you could tell this is kind of mountainous and terrainy area, right? And so the nearest getaway to get the hell out of here would be, you know, gee, like I said, they would have to go a long way down here to get to this main road and get out of here. I said it's a lot of work, man. A lot of work for an old lady. A lot of work. All right, so now that you understand, okay, the 10, let's see how far the border is. Just curious, okay? Now, we got 20 miles, 20, 46. Now, look, that's why I said Tucson, it's a dangerous place, folks, because you've got all this border area that unless it's 100% secure, you know, you got guys with backpacks coming over from other countries, man. It's not just, you know, people from Latin America coming. It's the whole world coming. So, yeah, I'm going to just risk maybe getting bumped off just to check my stream. I'm still going. All right, live stream. I'm up to 11 people. Yeppity you. That's great. Better than nothing. All right, so now you guys understand. I'm just here winging it like you guys. I'm going to spend just a few more minutes just trying to help you guys understand what's going on. You know, is she anywhere local? Well, with all these septic tanks in that area, that's a lot of septic tanks to start checking, guys. Okay, these are all, you know, these all have septic tanks. And it's all, this isn't flat topology. You can tell just based on millions of years of runoff. This is all kind of runoff terrain, okay? All this area, and this is the flatlands down here. So here you got the mountains, and then you got the semi-mountain area, okay? Rocky, all for millions of years, all this foundational dirt is coming from this mountain. So then you have here. So that's why I said all up here is a lot of septic tanks. So to me, if she's not alive anymore, you know, you've got a lot of septic tanks to check. And, you know, where could she be hid? You know, is there really places that she can be, you know, hid? Is there areas? I mean, yes and no. It just depends on if you knew the area. But just based on what I see, you know, they're saying this was the way out. This kind of gives the U-turn, so you can't get out of here. So south really is the only way out. You have to go from North Camino to this North Camino, right? I guess you could go north from here, back north, and get to this Orange Grove. Okay, possible. Here's East Skylane, which is kind of where they call their freeway. So that would be a way. And then the other way would be going south, down this way, would you go east? Would you go west? Let's just back out. You go either way. These are running down. This one looks not like a good route to take. This one does. I mean, if you're going south, this one will take you back down to, what you'd call from the mountain area back down to flatlands, right? So Campbell, I'm sure Campbell has been searched tremendously. But see, when you have a kidnapping like this, and speaking to people in prison that have done kidnappings, that have smashed people in the face with hammers, you get to know their personality types and the people that are willing to do this kind of stuff, And people don't do stuff for $5 or $50. They don't smash in an old lady's face for a couple $100, $4,000. Like I said, gang members, there's one thing the gangs don't do is they don't target the families, especially children or their grandparents. They just don't. So to me, this being gang related, that's why it's 10% random and 90% inside job, because like I said, the people that I know, and I know a lot of bad guys, they just don't do this stuff. Even if they were called, hey, I need a hit, need to whack somebody. Like, who? What? No, we don't want. We wouldn't take that. They would take a hit of a bad guy, of a pedophile or someone like that. They wouldn't off an old lady. So that's why I said you got to think about who would off, who would hit, who would take an old lady. Then you start understanding there's a personality type that will fit this. Motivation, money, trust, wills, estates, whacking granny so she can't change it is normally why the elders disappeared. Now, I'm not saying it's this case because I don't have enough information, but statistically, it's 90-10. 90% inside job. So now you can see there's a golf course. Is this a golf course? Yep. Okay, so we've got a really nice golf course kind of by, but again, I don't see them being able to stash a body. And I'm sure all this area has been, well searched by now. But again, when there's usually disappearance, and again, we're given the scenarios. If she is already deceased and the guy has no need for her body anymore, where would he dump it? Okay, and that's why I said there's not a lot of places that are close by to me that would indicate a place that someone would have in their mind as a dump spot. Dump spots are usually, like I said, they're isolated. They could be up in the mountain areas, like some, I'm just as an example, like Finger Rock, okay? And people go up there for hiking. And so if somebody knows a spot that's isolated, that's in the middle of nowhere, then yeah, they might end up in their own instinctual being. It's like, hey, if you're going to kill somebody, where would you bury the body, right? You're going to bury it in an isolated spot, or you're going to try to dump it in an area into a dumpster where you're not thinking they'll find it. Remember, that's why I said, in these kind of cases, because there was nothing taken, nothing looked like a robbery, Nancy was the prize. Nancy was the prize. Everything leads me to believe Nancy was the wallet, was the prize. The fact that she couldn't walk far leads me to believe that there was a getaway car where I told you it was. And yeah, it just, everything now reeks of foul play. Everything reeks of foul play. So, see, I first thought maybe this guy was, I don't think we can even get to this. This is a private driveway. Yep, we can't do that. I was thinking, oops, let's get back up. Yeah, I was thinking private driveway that maybe, oh dear, hopefully I haven't lost it. Let's see, it's over here. Here we go. There's her house. That maybe that the guy was watching her from this end. But now that I've seen it, okay, you can't watch her house from down here. You can't watch her house from down here. The only place you're going to watch her house was, like I said, where we have, I can't turn this map, but you have to trust me. It's like the bottom line is, if you know, all the way back there, you have a perfect line of sight straight to Nancy's house. Now, remember, this is the big turn. JLR, if you're here, I would go over here and take a high resolution camera and just film all this area around here. This whole area. Maybe the car I saw was parked right here, guys, right? Because I could still see it from here, but it did look like it was on this side. Sorry for the bump. It did look like it was over on this side. It didn't look like it was here, okay? Because here, if you look over, you can't really, I mean, you could see it, but to me, it's not where I remember it. I could be wrong, but if you're looking for a place to stake out Nancy's house and to park your getaway car, this is it. Okay? I don't think he's gonna park it on the main street because this is a cul-de-sac. No one's gonna come up here, right? So as a criminal, you're not gonna park your car here. Who's this? Is he the perpetrator? No, it's probably just a normal person. But you know, I mean, freakier things have happened, right? So anyway, so now you know, being parked down over here, there's no surveillance. What, are you just waiting for her to come home? And you're going to be seen, right? You're going to be seen. And there's no place to, like, hide except for this next street over here. And again, who's going to be this far away? You don't surveil someone from this far away. You just don't. So the only logical, remember, we're just talking logical. The only logical thing is, like I said, you see the guy coming up from this side. You don't see him walking up. Again, the FBI haven't showed us this footage, if they haven't. But as far as what we can assume is he came up from the other side. We don't know if he exited this side. You know? Again, it's hard to tell how much activity is ever, comes and goes here. You just don't know. Right? And if you're trying to watch the front door of movement or surveil the house, again, I'm sure if there's any former criminals in the house, I think they'll agree that this street is where he was parked. And now, more that I've seen those lights running, I honestly think he's so dumb the way he was trying to cover with grass that I think he was parked, in my opinion. Because, see, this is a house, right? I don't even know if it's abandoned. But if it looks abandoned, if there's nobody there, right? I can't really tell. On the overview, it did look like it. But if this guy pulled up and saw these houses kind of abandoned with nobody there, they look like this right now, guys. Imagine this. You're pulling up at night, and you see what you're seeing here now. No cars. Nobody. So why wouldn't you park right here and then walk down to Nancy's, okay? And let's just see the path to least resistance. Which one is closer? Okay, you're going to go right here, right? Well, this one is closer, but as far as if you're going to look to approach and you're thinking to yourself, if you walk this side and saw you'd be on camera, wouldn't that make sense? This is if you're a criminal, you're gonna go rob, this long driveway is a bad idea. A criminal is gonna say, wait a minute, this entrance here is more my style. Why? Because I've got this big wraparound here and I can walk through. Let's go look for the aerial view. Just so you can see how everything is laid out. So, this guy could have came here all the way on the side of the house here. We just don't know. But what we do know is that this is where all the action was here on this front porch. We know it's all right here, folks. So, obviously they would have checked all this area. So, to me, if the blood came out and stopped, or it came out here and stopped, wherever it came out and stopped, they kept going. It kept going. I mean, could it have been a car already parked in the driveway over here, an inside job? Of course it could. That would make sense. If it was an inside job, then yeah, they already knew. They can just pull up here, park here, all right, do their thing, take Nancy out, and throw her into the car, and then back out and take off. Scenario B. Inside job. Outside job. See my thing? Outside job, inside job. Very simple. Just kind of determine if it was an inside, because inside job's going to just pull in, kind of check around. Oops, we got the camera. Let me find something, which was to me kind of retarded. And then whatever happened, and then they're both gone. But do they walk away out of this? No. Nobody can walk out of this, folks. Nobody can walk out of this. And where are you going to walk to? It's not like Elizabeth Smith, where she was taken to an encampment. I thought, well, maybe that's where she was taken to some kind of a encampment somewhere. But nope, I don't think so. And again, there's nothing really that stands out, any area that, you know, I mean, she could be put in a tree line area, but again, anybody walking by would be able to see something there, you know, in the roots. See, what you look for is, like you said, some kind of uninhabitable terrain. So if you put the body in that, it just makes it very hard for somebody to go in there and look for it, because it's almost, the terrain is really rugged. I don't see that. Okay, I don't see any of that. See, I see these. See, I always said before, I thought that this might have been an off-road vehicle. And you can tell, clearly see, you got a bunch of off-road stuff that, and I don't think, obviously, Google Map is not going to allow you to, let's see, is there anything that connects me to that? Let's just go here and see. Now again, you can see this whole neighborhood is like, so now I know there's no reason somebody would randomly target this person. I just think it's too uncommon of anybody would like target Nancy in this particular situation. Right? I mean, look at all the other homes. You're coming in from any other area. Why would you just hit this one? Right? Why hit this area? Why? Yeah, I mean, like I said, there are some other things found down here in the lowlands. This is where people trek. This is where transients trek. This is where criminals conduct business. Condensed areas, you could sell drugs easy, etc. Up here in the hills, there's no walkers. People don't walk around here. The people that walk are the, you know, people that are older trying to get exercise. But, you know, it is what it is. Hey, wow, we got 19 people. Thank you, guys. Can you like and subscribe? Young channel. I'm trying to do some stuff that nobody else is really doing. Everyone else is kind of waiting to see who finds her. If you're watching, it's going to be people like us that find her. Basically, because we do the hard investigative work. And it's kind of a battle of eliminations, right? You just use your common sense. What would you do? What would you not do, right? An 85-year-old lady that has a house, her daughter is wealthy, still doesn't give reason. Like I said, a real professional or even an amateur kidnapper has a ransom note in their pocket. You know, it's designed with cutout newspaper, pay me so much money, bury the money here, give the instructions, and if that money's there, the person will be here at this time. Meaning it's laid out, it's cut or dry. It's you do this, you get your person back. Letter one time only. They either take it to the FBI, get them involved, which normally ends up getting the person killed, by the way, or the family decides to pay the ransom and it's a 50-50 chance to get the person back alive. That's why the FBI don't like people paying, because the odds are it's going to be a scam. The odds are you could probably get hurt. The odds are, like I said, it's just one bad situation after another. So there's no winning for losing, meaning you really got to get lucky to get a person back. Now, I do want to mention that I've listened to other detectives say that elderly kidnapping is not common. Elderly kidnapping, violent kidnapping, where there's blood left to the scene, is not common. He said in his 40 years in that area, he's never heard anything like it. So again, that leads you to believe that it's an inside job. Why would transients be walking? I mean, you think about how far they've got to walk into this area. So if there's no places for transients, 7-Elevens, or I don't want to even give them a free plug, but supermarkets, liquor stores, and places for people to hang out, I'm seeing that there's nothing. There is nothing in this area except for a few little things here, which still don't lead them to believe that transients are going to be staged here to be hitting all these people, because that's what they do. Transients, they're here. Every night they're out hitting different homes. All right, they're out hitting different homes. That's what they do. Transients, in order to get their drugs for their meth and all that shit, they congregate in an area that they can, and then they go out and strike. Cars, houses, whatever they can steal, bikes, and if you don't believe me, go talk to someone in prison. If you don't believe me, go talk to someone in prison. So you want to figure out what happened in Nancy, you're going to have to boil down to who did this. Okay? Now, you have some restaurants over here, but again, you got no real hangouts. Okay? If there was a Home Depot or a Lowe's really by, would indicate that there's a lot of vagabonds and hustlers coming through that area, okay, then I would raise it to 80-20. But again, I still don't see anything that leads me to believe that I should change my numbers from 90% inside job to 10% random. Because, man, that 10% random, just think about it, going in all the way to these houses down here. Why this one, right? You've got the cul-de-sac here. You've got an end of a cul-de-sac here. I mean, to me, that knows criminals, this is not the area you're going to want to canvass. You've got no way outs. A bunch of no way outs. So, as far as cops are concerned, you get doing stuff in here, and in a run, you're going to make one wrong turn, they got you. One wrong turn, they got you. Right? One wrong turn, they got you. So to me, it's not one wrong turn, they got you. So to me, as a criminal, one wrong turn, they got you. They got you. Like I said, this might be kind of by design, because you really got to have a lot of dead ends. So if you're being chased by the police, and you're trying to get away and you don't know the area, you're getting caught. You're getting caught. You just, like I said, to me, I'm just thinking as a criminal versus someone that wanted to off somebody because I was getting cut out of my inheritance, okay? So that's why I said it's pretty cut and dry, folks, and if I'm moving this too fast, I apologize, because my brain and my finger are working together. But I can clearly see that there's a bunch of nothing. I mean, there's no store, no 7-Eleven, no store, no 7-Eleven. No store, no hangout, no central spot where you would get random stagers, people that stage up, and then they run out of money, and then they start seeing your property, your house, your car, your bike that's parked on the side of your house as theirs. I don't see the pattern. I don't see the pattern of someone walking in, so I honestly think you can forget about walk in, walk out. Now, second thing, the person had brand new clothes, whether if it was Walmart cheap stuff or not. Vagabonds don't have new clothes. They don't have money for new clothes. And even meth heads that have money, you give them a chance to buy new clothes or some more meth, they're going to choose meth every time. So when I see someone with brand new clothes doing this kind of thing, why, it's 90-10. Nobody goes out and buys brand new everything to go do a heist. except for someone that's pretty pissed off, someone hell-bent for leather, somebody that either directly did it, was the perpetrator, was the person that's anger, and or it was the hit person. But remember, once you get into the motive, once you get into the mind of the person that has the balls to go do this stuff, strap up, 2 a.m, go pull out an old lady out of her house, not in fear anybody can hear you. Remember, the neighbor, it's not like they don't have neighbors. You know, you scream, someone's going to hear you. You know, you scream. If someone screamed here, this house is going to hear you. This house is going to hear you. This house is going to hear you. And this house. Remember, you're 100 feet. 100 feet. Think about that. That's 100 feet from tip to tip, from yard to yard. Okay? 100 feet. Not a football, not 200 yards. You're talking 150 feet. Someone screaming, help me, is going to be heard. Wasn't heard. 2 a.m, people could sleep through it. But usually, you would hear somebody that was struggling. They didn't. Again, could you walk out of this? No. Would you park your car anywhere along here? You wouldn't park in this guy's driveway, right? And this guy here parked, he's looking this way. His whole house is designed to look forward, this way. That's not designed to look back. This house here, right? Kind of designed to look forward, but if no one's there, this house. But again, if people are in watching TV, I still think this is where we saw the car. Because it's like I saw the car directly in front, right there. I'll do a little bit more investigative work later, folks, but you can clearly see that if you're going to do a heist or scam on somebody, you're going to do some pre-work. Either if it's an hour before, 20 minutes before, 5 minutes before. So I'm convinced the perpetrator parked their car right here, folks. Okay, right here. This is where I saw the lights going forward. It would make sense. Backed in, ready to take off. Parked the car, left the lights on because left the lights on because he wanted to find it. Knew if he parked the lights off, he might not find it. So leave the lights on. Felt comfortable. These houses were no threat to them. Now remember, if you pulled up and you saw these houses that had no cars, no action, you would think pretty safe. Hey, I can pull right there. What do you see, guys? You see Nancy's house, her door, right there. I almost am blown away that I'm like, how come nobody, not one reporter has said to you, hey, check this out. You know, they're all down on the road right now, but you probably can't park here. But has nobody even walked up here and done an interview to say, wait a minute, this looks like a perfect surveilling spot. And since there was a car, you can tell the lights, now you know it was a car. There's no other lights that would indicate this is not a pole. There's no lights here. I don't see any other lights. Okay? Do you see any lights? I don't see any. Remember, lights around here, they're no-nos. They're not supposed to have lights. So that's why you don't see lights. That's why you saw this car parked right here, folks. How come the FBI aren't there right now, literally taking a vacuum and sucking up every piece of dirt they got to take it back to the lab? I don't know. They could have. They might have. Again, I don't know. But since this is not being reported on, and to me it's the most sloppiest investigation I've ever seen in my life, and you have more YouTubers and people like me that are getting you closer to the truth than the FBI, getting you closer to the truth than the local Tucson police, okay? So, yeah, I'm not trying to put out any false information. I'm not trying to mislead the police. I'm not trying to do this for clicks. I'm trying to do this because as a former child actor, Nancy and Savannah, even though I don't know them personally, like my family, you have to understand what it's like to be an actor and to have people try to manipulate you, set you up, kidnap you. I mean, you get used to these people, folks, because they're all around you. They're from the top to the bottom, from the rich to the poor. And, by the time that you figure it out, it's game over for you. right? So now I'm convinced. The more I just sit here and say, okay, yep, the car is parked right there. I bet you once we do the video again, you'll see it was the lights were there. Now the only thing that it could be was a little bit closer, but I don't see a place that somebody could pull up in here except for like maybe right there, but they'd have to get in and then they would leave a trail. Okay? But if you were going to surveil Nancy's house, wouldn't this be a good place? Let's see what you guys think. Let's see what you guys think. Maybe you think I'm full of it. Maybe you think I don't know anything. Maybe. I don't know. What do I know? All right, now I'm going to start reading the comments, and then I'm going to comment. We got just a few here. So, I'm in. Thank you. Okay, Anna, thank you. I think northwest of its importance. Boo, boo, boo. Okay. All right, let's see. A lot of things could have led to the bleeding, right? You're right. All right, I'm wondering. Supposedly there was no forced entry. Oh, you know what? I want to talk about that. Oh boy, you want to talk about that forced entry because it drives me nuts. Okay? Please, give me a minute. Let me see if I got more than 20 people on just to give me a boost. Let's see how many we got here. Do we have... Oh, we got 26. All right, now I'm in all the way, guys. All right, so 26, you guys, to me, it should be 26 million. Thank you for showing up and liking and subscribing. Talk about the front door where her blood dropped was in the front door unlocked, right? Now, let's talk about the layers of security. Nancy had 3 full layers of security. Let's go back there when we can do that and like zoom in on the front door if we can. Let's get over here. If it will let me just get just a little closer. Yeah. All right, my luck is just gonna bounce me back and forth. All right, but we can get in close. All right, here's the door. All right, and behind this door, you can tell that this walk up here, so they had to walk up this little steppity stool. Nobody even told me about this little steppity stool, right? So we got the steppity stool, but this is what blows me away, and I'm sure you're going to agree, folks. Look, she had 3 layers of defense. She had the 2 windows on the side. So when someone's knocking, banging, usually with a house that's designed where you have 2 thick glass windows on the side, you peek to one side before you open the door. Why didn't Nancy peek to see it was a masked person? No one will know. Now, the time that let's just cut to the chase. Why did she open up the door or open up all the layers to get kidnapped? This is because she knew the kidnapper. Knock, knock, knock. Take off the mask. Once they do the camera, hey, it's me. Oh, what are you doing here? Oh, my car broke down. Whatever. Click, unlock, bang. You're done. Right? That's why you never fall for stuff at 2 in the morning. Always hang on and let me call somebody for you. Never open up your door. So now you know your first layer of defense was her windows. She could look in and out, and she effed up. Why? We don't know. Second layer. This is where it gets spooky. She didn't have just a security screen door. She also had the wooden door, the door that her house, normal door. And then you had the screen door. So at some point, she opened up door number 1. She still had the... Now, I've seen the screen door. It's not the kind of screen door that somebody that has a gun would feel comfortable firing through because it's flat sheet metal. That it's a barb. I mean, let me see if I can explain it right. It's not like it was just a thin piece of sheet metal that, is good for banging. You fire to go right through it. It was layered with a bunch of flat metal steel pieces, which bullets aren't going to go through easily. And there was a little gap between them. So again, if she opened up, go away, you couldn't safely, in my opinion, kill anybody on that security door. It was designed in a way that it wasn't bullet proof, but it was certainly bullet resistant. So let's get back to where I was talking about. She opens the door. Oh my goodness, it's a burglar. Let me open up my security door. Come on in. Now, do you think she did that? No. So she opened up the door. We know the lights were on. Would she open up the door blindly at 2 a.m? Would she be so out of whack that she would not look in the windows? She would unlock the door, see who was there, and then unlock the security gate. I don't know. Can someone just help me with this? Can somebody just post what the heck? How could that happen? She's got 3 layers of security. How could that happen? How could she not look through the window? How can she not look when she opened the door? I open up my secure door all the time. Hey, how can I help you? I don't know you. I'm not opening my door. Especially you got a mask and I see a gun. It's shut the door. Call 911. Nancy didn't do that. She opened the door. Why would anybody open the door? Because she knew the perpetrator. Again, common sense. She knew the perpetrator. She knew the perpetrator. Or Nancy really dropped the ball. Meaning she literally just, ding dong, bang, 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 bang. The police open up, whatever he said, right? Police open up, which usually is the common thing a thief will do, to think that you'll just randomly open up. But wouldn't you look? Are you the police? You don't look like the police. You look like a masked robber. No, I'm not opening the door. Wait, I've opened the door. I'm looking now through the screen door because there's slats. I now see a masked person. Are you going to open the door? 2 a.m? No. Why would you open the door? You'd open the door because you knew the person. You wouldn't just see the masked person and go, hey, come on in. Would you? I don't know. I need your comments on this because to me, like I said, are we on the wrong track? Why does somebody put all these security measures in place and then not utilize them? Why was her DoorDash or cam, the account not being paid for? Who was her executive of her estate? Why was that not being paid? How long was that not being paid? When did they stop paying for the Nest Cam? If you loved your mother, would you stop paying for the Nest Cam backup footage? Savannah? Making millions of dollars, you wouldn't do that for your mom? Why wouldn't you do that for your mom? Oh, were you not the executive of state? Was it your sister? Holy shit. Well, that's pretty bad. Right there is bad management. I would be like, wait a minute. You were responsible for your mother, paying all of her bills, and you chose not to pay the most important thing, which is your Nest thing to protect your mom. She doesn't have security. Again, that's a fail. I got an issue with that. I got mom. I got cameras. I would never leave my mom hung and dry. She would actually have 2 backups. I'd have a cloud and being it sent to another server somewhere, just as a backup. So with all the money Savannah had, doesn't make sense why they wouldn't have paid their monthly $20 subscription. Makes no sense. And I don't know, you might disagree. You might just say, well, the camera is for a deterrent. Well, I say no, you need to have it backed up. If you don't have it backed up internally, then you need to have it backed up to a cloud. So if not, your camera is 100% useless. So yeah, I mean, that's the whole thing. If anybody wants to put in their 2 cents, why Nancy didn't look through the window, opened up her wood door, and then opened up her screen door to be kidnapped. Who does that? I mean, like I said, 3 layers. People put in the windows, folks, just for that. They can peek out and see, hey, it's 2 a.m. now. It's perfectly fine. Pitch black out. I can't see anything. Let me just open up to the abyss, right? Nancy didn't seem that she's just going to open up her door into the complete darkness. Like if a bear was there, coyote. You don't know. It's mountainous area, right? So would she open up her door with lights out? Would she open up her door haphazardly? Would she not even look out there? I don't know. I'm sure her neighbors. I'm sure somebody that knows her. Wait, did I get cut off? Because I don't see any more. No, we're still live. And now we got 30. Great. Um, so that's why I said your comments are important to me, because I'm only trying to do uh, something that the local forces are not, meaning battle of elimination. Because, yeah, we have a perp, but we need to find Nancy, because usually the perpetrator and Nancy, they're not together anymore. Okay? Usually the perpetrator isn't going to stick with the $1 million bait. Okay? Just not going to do it. So if you're looking to find Nancy, you should be focused on finding Nancy. Where did they got her? Where did they take her? Where could they be keeping her? I've told people that are watching, get out to these local guys that are on the ground now. Check all the local mine shafts. Do you know how many mine shafts are within this area? That's why I said we're going to really need to zoom out, and you'll see. Hold on. You're going to see how big this area is. And then you'll see, just because we're here in Tucson, there is a whole area around here that there's probably 500 mines, easy, within where I'm seeing. Straight mines, shaft mines, drift mines, you name them. They're mines. And you'd have to go into a geological site to get all the old mines and start checking them out. And it wouldn't hurt. Now, I don't recommend you going into the mines, but you want to find Nancy, you want to help find Nancy, be proactive. Again, I wish I had the money and the funds. I'd be going there right now. I'm just too small of a channel, and I don't have the funds. And all I can ask you guys is like and subscribe to keep this going. Because, yeah, I'm going to end this stream here just a minute because I got some things to do. But now you know. Look, there is something that smells foul. And I just got to say it. Just something seems foul. This wasn't a walk-up. This was a drive-up. This was a drive-up kidnapping. This was designed for kidnapping. Again, 10%. The guy just said, hey, I'm going to pull up and hit some houses. And he maybe went and tried to hit these houses and found they're empty. So that's the thing about the FBI. Really need to get search warrants to be able to do swab tests of everybody's doorbells and ring cameras and things, okay? Just in case they can get lucky and catch something. Because criminals make mistakes. When they have a glove on, they'll wipe their forehead, get their touch DNA on it, and then put it somewhere. So, yeah, you never know. But look, folks, I'm going to cut off because I got some things to do, and I'm going to try to work on some more photos. But at least now you know I'm trying to slowly bring some lightness to this darkness. And I still don't know who did it. All I can tell you who didn't do it. Surely doesn't look like it's gang related. It would either be, in my opinion, 90% family, 10% just random dude coming in from Mexico. Like I said, now you know it's not too far from the border. It's walkable. But again, now you know someone walking wouldn't be coming up here. Someone brand new clothes wouldn't be coming up here. They're coming up here for a targeted reason, folks. And again, this is my hunches, my expertise, and knowing these people and knowing the kind of people that would do this. Knowing the mentality that would go in without having any tape. Think about it. If you're going in to kidnap somebody, right, and bring them out alive, wouldn't you have tape? So if you had tape, you'd be able to tape the door cam. Nope, you'd be able to tape the back cam. So if you didn't bring tape, think about this. And again, I'll leave it at that. 99% of criminals in prison that you want to go interview that have been now down for kidnapping, you'll ask them, what was the one thing that you brought to your kidnapping? They'll tell you tape. So if no tape was brought, this wasn't a kidnapping. This was execution. So what do? Just because you think you can overwhelm someone, yeah, but if the easiest thing is you bring a thing of duct tape, 90% of all these people in killings are involved taping them up, okay? It's like a restraint. So with her not being no tape, I don't think it's a kidnap. I think it was an inside job to look like it. So until next video, guys, peace out. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll be back on in a few more hours after I get some other stuff done. Again, thank you all for watching, and be looking for the next video. As soon as I can get some more stuff and more images that I can edit and enhance, I will. Again, tell your friends and next door neighbors. I'm Stephen West from CenterLine News. Until next video.